In 1652, a luminous meteor was seen to fall in Italy, and near its landing place, star jelly was found. On March 23, 1665, a fibrous substance resembling blue silk fell in great quantities at Naumburg, Germany, southwest of Leipzig. On October 1819, a fiery globe fell on the island of Lethe, India. Gelatinous matter was found where it landed. On May 5, 1786, the last day of a drought that had lasted since the previous November, a great quantity of black eggs fell on Port-au-Prince, Haiti. They hatched the next day, and some of these strange animals from the sky were preserved in a flask of water. The creatures shed their skins several times and resembled tadpoles. On August 13, 1819, a foul-smelling object covered with a cloth-like nap fell on Amherst, Massachusetts. It was examined by Professor Rufus Graves, who removed the nap and discovered a buff-colored, pulpy substance beneath it. On exposure to the air, the substance became a livid color, resembling venous blood. The object was said to have fallen with a brilliant light. In 1828, several districts of Persia were reported to be covered to a depth of between 7 and 8 inches of a fall of material that was enthusiastically eaten by the livestock. Now, this one's a little gross. On July 20th, 1851, at the Benicia Army Station near San Francisco, troops on the drill ground were showered with blood and pieces of meat, apparently beef. Specimens from the size of a pigeon's egg up to that of an orange were given to the army surgeon, who described some slices as being slightly tainted. Here's a strange one. On September 2nd and 11th, 1857, a shower of candy is recorded as having occurred in some sections of Lake County, California. It is said that on both of these nights there fell a shower of candy or sugar. The crystals were from 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch in length and the size of a goose quill. Syrup was made out of it by some of the lady residents of the section. On August 1st, 1869, flesh and blood fell for 3 minutes and covered some 2 acres of Mr. J. Hudson's farm near Los Nitos, California. The day was clear and windless, and flesh fell as fine particles as well as in strips from 1 to 6 inches long. Short, fine hairs also fell with it. Now, this one will turn your stomach. On Friday, March 3rd, 1876, flakes of meat fell over in an area 100 yards long and 50 yards wide near a Kentucky home of Mr. and Mrs. Allen Crouch, not far from the Olympian Springs in southern Bath County. The sky at the time was cloudless, and the flakes were from 1 to 3 or 4 inches square and looked like fresh beef. However, according to the opinion of 2 gentlemen who tasted it, the substance was either mutton or venison. Long story short, after lots of medical examinations on this so-called meat, it turned out that, the meat in fact was from, pieces of cartilage and muscle tissue and pieces of liver from an infant or a horse. One theory from a scientist is it could have been disgorged from a pack of buzzards, but how 5,000 square feet of disgorged meat could have came from buzzards is beyond me. The lesson here is don't eat meat that's fallen from the sky because you don't know where it came from. On January 15th, 1891, an edible substance consisting of a small yellowish spherules, white on the inside, fell over an area of some 3 square miles in the neighborhood of Mardin and Diyarbakir, Turkey. The local people made it into bread that was said to be of good flavor and easily digestible. Botanists declared the substance to be a lichen, perhaps Lysinera escul. I don't know what this is. In 1901, a succession of curious hailstones fell during a storm over St. Lawrence River near the village of Alexandria Bay, New York. At first, the hailstones were cylindrical, the thickness of a lead pencil and 3/8 of an inch long. These gave way to stones the size of a walnut, which in turn were followed by disc-shaped hailstones 2 inches thick and 3 inches in diameter. They were hard enough to bounce off rocks without breaking, and when they were half melted, many had the appearance of a human eye, a pupil in the center, and a ring surrounding it, with fine lines radiating in all directions. During the hailstorm, the observer goes on, the river presented a beautiful appearance, there being thousands of miniature fountains from a foot to 6 feet in height, spurting up where the hail plunged into the water. On the evening of Trinity Sunday, 1908, a parish some miles to the west of the Vosges Mountains in eastern France, hailstones in the shape of medallions fell from the sky with the faces of the Virgin Mary or either a crown of thorns engraved on them. Children had gathered them in their aprons to run home and show their parents, which confirmed the images. Some even saw small details, such as the Virgin's crown, the child Jesus, the fringes of the robe. There were over 50 signatures of people that confirmed this. Something very similar happened in the year of 1552, Friday, the 17th of May, between 4 and 5 o'clock in the afternoon. There was a particularly violent thunderstorm in a certain Dutch town called Dordrecht, driving the inhabitants into terror into their houses as if the world were coming to an end, because for more than half an hour there was a steady bombardment of horrible hailstones, so that every garden and orchard was destroyed. Some of the hailstones were of gigantic size and particular shape. Hundreds of people saw them, including a painter who sketched the hailstones as shown above. Several hailstones had a natural shape of the sun. On others appeared a crown of thorns. Some weighed as much as half a pound. The water from these hailstones smelled as if they were boiling water. This hailstone was followed by a foul-smelling cloud. It is a wonder what such signs may signify. In August 1940, numerous silver coins fell in the Mishura region in central Russia during a storm. On September 26, 1950, police officers John Collins and Joe Keenan were cruising the streets of Philadelphia in their patrol car at night. As they made their way down a quiet side street near Vere Avenue and 26th Street, their headlights picked up a strange, shimmering object that seemed to be coming to the earth in an open field about half a block ahead of them. When they went to investigate, their flashlights revealed a domed disc of quivering purple jelly, 6 feet in diameter, 1 foot thick near the center, and an inch or two at the edge. They had a curious feeling that this thing was alive. They turned off their flashlights and saw it glow with a faint purple light, and then they radioed for help. They were soon joined by Sergeant Joe Cook and Patrolman James Cooper. Sergeant Cook suggested that they try to pick the thing up, but when the officer Collins attempted to do this, it fell apart in his hands, like gelatin. The fragments that stuck to his hands soon evaporated, leaving behind only a sticky, odorless scum. Within half an hour after Cook and Cooper arrived on the scene, the whole thing evaporated. On August 28, 1962, while Grady Honeycutt of Harrisburg, North Carolina, was fishing in his state in a lake near Concord, he saw a shining globe fall slowly into the water. He rowed toward it and soon saw the object resting on the lake bed below him. Through the clear water, he could distinguish its features easily. It was about the size of a bowling ball. It glittered and was covered with short spikes. He rowed for the shore and called the sheriff's office. By the time Deputy Sheriffs Ted May and Bob Urey were on the scene, the thing seemed to have disintegrated into a tangle of shiny wire. They called for more help. 3 drivers were dispatched to them from the Armed Services Explosive Disposal Unit No. 2, but by the time they arrived, at 7 the next morning, after the splashdown, the thing had completely dissolved, and though they searched the lake bed, the divers could find only some strips of aluminum foil of the kind dropped by the Air Force to distort radar.